All right, you're back with the Bearded Butchers. Today is pretty much just a normal production day for us. So we've got a side of beef here. It's one of our local 100% grass-fed beef. And today we're gonna be breaking down the chuck while Seth does, a lot of the breakdown. What doesn't always get captured is that I share in the heavy lifting by breaking down the chucks. Of course, Sean, the older brother who is over there, doesn't always wind up on the camera, but we'll get him on there today. He debones a lot of stuff too. And hand me that thing for a minute. Give me this thing. This guy right here is always behind the camera.
We told him we were going to embarrass him.
And Spencer is Sean's son.
I'd much rather be on that side.
19 years old, self-taught, does an awesome job here. You better take this thing back before I drop it. So today we're going to be breaking down this, I'm going to do the chuck. I'm going to show you what we're going to be getting out of here is we're going to be pulling a flat iron. You know what? Just stay tuned. I'm going to show you a steak in here that while tri-tips and flat irons go up in price because they gain popularity, this one's still under the radar. So I'm going to show you where it comes from, what it's called, and how you can probably pick this thing up at one of those lower price points until this video gets out and more people find out about it. But we're going to pull it out of there. You stay tuned and you're going to find out what that cut is. Sorry. Try not to get too much of this guy. He gets plenty of time on camera. So we're just gonna break the chuck out. All right, so Seth's gonna go ahead and bang, 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 square up this chuck. First cut takes off that arm or that front shank and that brisket. Get that out of the way. Next cut took off that arm and he stayed right outside of that flat iron. There goes the neck. All right, there's my square cut chuck. That's the section towards the neck. This would be towards the ribeye. Let's carry this guy over here, get started breaking it down. So what I like to do, and actually Seth and I have a little bit different style here, is I just go ahead and grab, I just start to peel that out. This is where it helps to have nice, strong grip. I pull out, get that started, and I actually peel this whole cap right off of here. And that lets me expose all those cuts that are underneath there. Then I can easily see where all the different muscles lie. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll even put a little hole in there. That way I can grip a hold of that. This cover does not just peel off of here that easily. I have to help it quite a bit. Once I get it down here, expose about 2/3 of it. Zip that off. That's going to go into our trim. So now we can start to see, peel a little of this fat cover off right here. We've got our flat iron right here, sometimes called top blade steak. Underneath of it is a mock tender, but we haven't got to that secret steak yet, which is going to wind up being my lunch. One of my favorite things to do is when we're butchering.
I hope you're planning on sharing.
There won't be enough to share, Seth. We're butchering at this time. So I just make a cut right along. So now that I peeled that top off, I can see where my flat iron is. And then you're going to have the shoulder blade bone right here. So I can start on this side, and you kind of want to keep your knife angled just a little bit in towards the bone. I spin it around. Once we get all these connective tissues loosened up here, and go right down. I'm just cutting right down till my knife actually stops when it makes contact with the bone. And then that point, you can just muscle that out. So there's the flat iron. It's still got the silver skin on the top, on the bottom, and it's actually got a silver skin that runs right through the center. I'll pass that off to Seth. He does a real nice job of cleaning that out of the center. So now we've got something called a mock tender right underneath this blade. The reason it's called a mock tender is because it looks a little bit like a tenderloin. So here's that arm knuckle. Just gonna peel that guy out of there, makes it a little bit easier. And what I like to do at this point is now I've got to get this shoulder blade lifted out of there. I'm going to be taking it away from the chuck eye or the chuck roll. So I just stay right along the bone all the way down to the end. Once I do that, I can get my fingers under there, peel that guy out. Still haven't got to that secret steak yet. I bet you're wondering what it is. So I've got this underblade steak right here. Peel that away. By now, some of you have probably started to comment on what you think that is. Still not there yet. So now I've got my chuck, basically left with my chuck eye right here. So what I'm going to do is make a cut right along the top right here. That's going to let me get my chuck roll out of there. Right down to the blade, the chine bones underneath there. As you see, a lot of times we spin stuff around just because it's all about angles in this business. That's my chuck roll. I'll usually trim a little bit of the neck off of there. We pull this yellow cord out of here. You will get to that later. We want to get to this puppy right here. This is the steak that I've been telling you about. These are starting to pop up. And what's great is they have some awesome, anything from the chuck has some awesome marbling in it because it's just the nature of the chuck. So I pull that out of there, and look at that marbling right here. And this is, as mentioned, this is 100% grass-fed. So this beef has not ever been fed grain its entire life. Does anybody tell me what this is? Just gonna trim off a little bit of this. This is where those ribs were. You don't want to take too much off because, like I mentioned, fat is flavor. You want to have a nice bit of that flavor on there. Not too much, but enough to give yourself a nice butcher's lunch. All right, there it is. That's a Denver steak. Sits right here on top of this set of ribs right off the chuck. It's got some awesome flavor, tender. And what's really crazy is this thing's gonna swell up when I throw it on the smoker. So I know my Traeger is fired up to about, you got that at 165 out there?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna take this, you know what? I'm gonna walk right over here. This is the ultimate butcher lunch. Throw that puppy in there. Get my tub of black seasoning. Throw a couple tablespoons in there. It's one of the things we like to do with our seasoning methods. Get it in that bag. Let's go say hey to the ladies while we throw this on the Traeger. How's that sound? Hi, girls.
Hi.
They love being on YouTube. Actually, no, we try to catch them as much as we can. Hey, look at this. Snowing. Northeast Ohio, April the 17th, and it's snowing. It's actually got me set at 170. Look at that beautiful semi-transparent sweet blue, we call that. That's the smoke. Bang, stick our meat probe in there. I'm gonna go ahead and slap that in super smoke mode. And while I go back to work, this thing's gonna smoke, and I'm gonna come back, and it's gonna be my lunch. Stay tuned.
Typical bearded butcher lunch. I have my steak
out there smoking, and we're swamped. This customer is in here right now, and he wants the Traeger 885, and he wants some strip. He's got a culinary background. He wants this beautiful ribeye roast and a strip roast to go with it. Seth's tied up with another customer, and we already broke our saw down. So I don't know what we're gonna have, but I went ahead and because I'm using the Traeger, I can change the temperature on it, and I've got my steak out there, and I'm sure it's gonna be fine, but my belly is telling me that I'm not fine. I'm hungry. Stick with us. In just a minute, we're gonna be able to finish this roast up and get back to our steak. That's typical lunch for us around here. So, as I mentioned, Brian fully assembled some of his legs. Yeah, right? All right, this guy is done. And I tell you what, wow, did we get rocked there. Shout out to Brian. Just left here with a whole bunch of Bearded Butcher goodies, including this grill. He's a chef. He got a strip loin. He got a ribeye loin, a whole tenderloin. But he got this grill too. So I know he's headed home for something awesome. Dude, come here, because this is a little bit too crazy for us to go inside, so we're gonna sneak around to the warehouse so we can eat our lunch. I wasn't planning on it being quite this crazy, but we love it because that's just the nature of the beast. Got a knife, got meat, let's eat. Oh no.
Oh.
He's gonna want steak too.
Is that my lunch?
All right, we gotta let this guy sit here for a minute and rest. And then we're gonna chop into this thing, and we'll just eat our lunch right here, and then we're gonna have to get back to work cutting meat. So we should have probably let this rest a little bit longer.
I'm hungry.
It's 12:40.
Yeah.
We got up at 5:30. We actually did gobble down some antelope sausage at like 7:30, but that was 5 hours. No, that wasn't 5 hours ago.
Come on.
Anyway,
And he's our
hunger's
our
getting to
accountant.
me.
Can you believe that? All right.
The hunger's getting to
Yeah.
me. So, you know what? If you think we should... Oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh. All right. You know what? That's the smaller half. You can have that. So, this is how we're going to finish our lunch. Oh, it makes me want to do a happy dance.
Cut some for me.
Oh, you need a knife. He needs a knife. There you go. Get you some of the... Look at that, man. Ooh. That is delicious.
I don't even have to wonder what seasoning you used on this. That black seasoning, that coffee rub and the molasses, just
You want a bite, don't you? Yeah. All right, so we're gonna gobble down our lunch. We're gonna get back to work. But today you learned.
Look at that juice dripping out of there.
Remember I told you it would swell up too? Where the Denver steak comes from, what the Denver steak is. You saw it all here. Don't forget, subscribe, hit the like button, follow us on all our channels, and get that bucket, not the bottle, because you'll get the shaker, you'll get the bottle with the bucket. Get that bucket of black seasoning. Go to the website. You're gonna use this stuff like crazy. So, Bearded Butchers, until next time, thanks for watching. We'll see you later.